Good morning, everybody. This is Paula Frindell, the Executive Director of NYIADA. We are very proud today to have Phil Frost, the founder and COO of Main Street ROI. Main Street ROI is a digital marketing agency based in New York City. Their mission is to help small businesses thrive. They help small businesses by succeeding with their marketing budget, regardless of their marketing budget, by providing both services and training options. We're very proud to present Phil Frost.
Thank you, Paula, and thanks to the NYIADA for hosting this webinar. Again, we're going to be talking today about the 5 steps to get your auto dealership ranking on the first page of Google. And really quickly, we'll get some housekeeping out of the way. You can post questions during this webinar in the Q&A section of the GoToWebinar window, and that should be in the upper right corner of your screen, labeled questions. Just type those in. I'll see those pop up on my screen, and I'll either address them right away, or we can address that in the live Q&A at the end. And I always recommend everyone turn off distractions like email, instant messenger, and definitely social media. You'll just get the most out of these trainings if you are focused and ideally taking notes. I like to go old school and just take out a pen and paper. All right, here's what we're going to cover. I'm going to walk through some important Google updates that you need to understand. I'll go through 3 old school SEO tactics you should be avoiding. A lot of things that worked not too long ago in the SEO world to get your website ranked high in Google will actually get you into trouble now. So we'll go over those old school tactics that you don't want to be using. I'll go through 2 tactics you can use to get ranked in as little as 30 days. So there are still opportunities to get rankings fast, even though you probably have heard in the SEO world it can take time to move up in the rankings. But with these 2 tactics, you can actually get pretty quick results. I'll obviously go through the 5 rules you now need to follow. And I'll also talk about how you can get started today. And I do want to point out at the bottom of the screen, you can grab our free SEO checklist at mainstreetroi.com/the-checklist. And that's a free gift for attending today. All right, out of respect for everyone's time, I know you're busy. You'll get the most out of this presentation if you already have a website. You provide top quality products and services. You want to be recognized as the #1 provider. You want to know what it takes to get your website ranked #1 in Google. And you're willing to take action. And I put in parentheses there consistent action because unfortunately SEO is not a one-time marketing tactic. You can't just set it and forget it. You do need to stay up to date and be implementing consistently month after month. This is not for you if you just want to trick Google into giving you the #1 spot. And that's a common misconception with SEO and getting your site ranked high in Google is that people think it's just about tricking Google, and I'll explain why that's not true and the mindset that you should have and the approach you should take to SEO. And again, it's not for you if you're just looking for a set it and forget it type, completely hands-off solution. There is some ongoing work involved to first get your site ranked high and then to keep it ranked high. All right, Paula already gave a nice intro, but you might be wondering, who am I? Why should you listen to me? Again, I'm the founder of Main Street ROI, and we provide digital marketing services as well as training like this training today. And to date, we've helped over 2,000 businesses with their digital marketing. And my thought leadership in this industry has been featured in Forbes, Inc., Amex, as well as Mashable. And I'm also the very proud father of these cute kids. That's my 3.5-year-old daughter, Violet, on the right. And that's my chubby 1-year-old, just over 1-year-old son, Emmett. And my beautiful wife, Erin. And you can see they are trashing their bedroom there. There's toys everywhere. All right, here's a brief history of Google to get you up to speed. Way back in the day, some people won't even remember this, there was the Alta Vista days. Alta Vista was an old search engine, one of the first search engines. And SEO, or getting your your website to rank high in AltaVista was pretty easy. All you had to do was put the keyword that you wanted to rank for on your web page multiple times. And if your page had that phrase more times than other web pages, your page would actually show up #1. So it's really easy to get a page to rank, but because of that, unfortunately, the search results were full of spam. You probably remember that as well. You could type, let's just say New York car dealership, and you might see just a completely irrelevant #1 search result. So that didn't work out very well for AltaVista. Google entered the market around 1998, and they came with a pretty ingenious algorithm that would look at not just the words on the page, but it looks at what other websites are linking to your website. And a link is just, if you're online and you click, let's say click here, you over to your website, that's a link to your site. Now, because of that, they were not just looking at what was on the page, they were looking at other websites linking to your site, which essentially is like a vote in your favor. The search results for Google were much better. It was harder for people to get ranked #1 and to get spammy pages to rank #1 because of the way the algorithm worked. And because of that, Google became the #1 search engine, really hasn't looked back since. So that they just had this better algorithm that made the search results more relevant. And another key takeaway here is that Google depends on search revenue, search ad revenue. If you look at their financials, they're heavily dependent on people searching and clicking on the ads on Google.com. And because of that, they need to make sure that their search results are the best that they can possibly be, or else they're going to lose those users who are going to Google and clicking on ads and driving up their revenue. So basically, any spam or spammers out there that are trying to get irrelevant pages in the search results, that threatens Google's business model. And it means that if they show spammy results, users are going to lose trust in Google and start using other search engines like Bing. So that's a huge takeaway, and that's why the smartest Google hires some of the smartest people to fight spam every day and keep spam out of the search results. And with that in mind, you may have heard of some of these recent Google updates. There was something called the Panda update, and that was to really remove websites that give users a bad experience. There might be just a web page that has low quality content and the navigation is not user-friendly. Because of that, that would give Google's users a bad user experience, and Google wants to avoid that. Next, they launched what was called the Penguin update, and that was to remove what are called over-optimized websites. And if you remember, I just said that links to your website are a signal for Google that says, hey, this site deserves to be ranked high. And if you have lots of links, that's lots of votes in your favor to rank your website higher. So what businesses would do is they would pay for links, and they would basically create their own links. They would create websites that would then link back to their main website. And that's one of those old school spammy tactics that used to work. But ever since the Penguin update, that's a tactic that would just get you into trouble. So that's what the Penguin update would remove. All those sites that were just paying for links and maybe even creating their own websites to link to their main website. Next is Google+, which is Google's social network. And that really highlights the importance of social media signals to help your SEO. And then finally here is the Hummingbird update. And when Google did this update, it allowed Google to understand context and synonyms. And by that, I mean if someone searches for, just goes to Google and searches food near me, for a human, that's obvious they're looking for restaurants near their physical location. But for a computer program like Google's algorithm, that's not super easy to understand, food near me. But Google can now translate that and understands that that phrase actually means show me restaurants near my location. So this is the first old school tactic you want to avoid, something called over-optimized web pages. Ultimately, the key takeaway here is to write naturally on your site. You don't want to be writing exclusively for Google. You want to be writing for your prospects. In this case, someone who's looking to buy a car. You want to put yourself in their shoes and make sure you're writing and appealing to that particular person, not trying to write for Google just to get your site to rank high. You also want to avoid what's called keyword stuffing. I mentioned before, in the Alta Vista days, you would just stuff keywords on a page and that would make it rank high. Well, that actually doesn't work anymore, so you definitely want to avoid just repeating the same keyword over and over again on the same page. You want to avoid that. You want to shoot for over 500 words per page that you're trying to rank, and that's because Google, again, they're trying to satisfy the searcher, and in order to satisfy the searcher and what they're looking for, Google knows that people are looking for the most robust information. They want the highest quality, most accurate information, and when you only have, let's say, 100 words on the page, that can hurt your rankings because Google will see that as a page that doesn't have that much value versus maybe one of your competitors who has a page that's much more robust and over 500 words. And then ultimately it comes down to providing valuable information. So if you're not providing valuable information, it's going to be very hard to convince Google's algorithm to rank you #1 versus any of the competitors who are just providing more valuable information on their website. The next old school tactic here is self-created links, and this should be obvious based on the Penguin update I mentioned earlier. You don't want to buy links that's against Google's terms of service. You don't want to go out and try to get links from irrelevant websites. So you guys are in the auto industry, so getting other links from websites in the auto industry, that's going to be highly relevant, but it doesn't really make sense for you to go out and try to get a link from a website that's in, let's say, the jewelry industry. Next is, this brings up something called anchor text. And I gave an example there, NYC car dealer, and it's underlined and it's blue, and that's to make it look like a link. And when you see something online, when it's blue and underlined, you know at this point that that's a link that you can click on with your mouse and it will shoot you over to a new page. Well, that phrase that you clicked on is called anchor text. And Google looks at that, and Google will see that sites are linking to your website with NYC car dealer. That tells Google this website is relevant for NYC car dealer, which makes it more likely that you would be ranked for that particular keyword. So when someone goes to Google and types NYC car dealer, you're more likely to show up in the search results if other websites are linking to you with that anchor text. Now with that in mind, you can take that too far, and if all of your links, or let's say 90% of the websites linking to you are saying NYC car dealer, that's going to be a red flag that you're probably doing something unnatural or spammy and trying to just manipulate Google search results. Google does not like that. They want you to be getting just natural links, and the most natural way to get links is other websites are going to use different keyword phrases as anchor text. So some might say, click here to see, to learn more about a car dealer in New York, and spell out New York. They might say Manhattan car dealer. So different variations like that make your your links look more natural, and that way you would avoid that penguin update that I mentioned earlier. And ultimately, with links, you want to focus on sharing content versus creating links. So you want to put something on your site that is so valuable that other websites, other relevant websites, would want to link to you to get that content. All right, the third old school tactic you want to avoid is unnecessary SEO pages. And this is related to the Hummingbird update. You want to, well, back in the day, an old school tactic would be to create a page for every single different variation of a keyword. So you might have a page for car dealer in NYC and another page for NYC car dealer. Those are different phrases, but those phrases are people are searching for exactly the same thing. There's the same intent for those keywords, so you really don't need different pages, and that's because of the Hummingbird update, because Google can now understand those two different pages should really lead to the same information. So you don't want to create multiple pages for similar keywords. For example, these two different phrases, technically two different keywords, but you really just want to have one page because the person searching for those keywords is looking for the exact same thing. They're looking for a car dealer in New York City, regardless of whether they say car dealer in NYC or NYC car dealer. All right, here are three SEO predictions. Google's going to continue to fight SEO spam. They're just pretty relentless with this, and again, it's because it threatens their business model to basically penalize you if you're doing any of these, keyword stuffing, creating unnatural links to your website, and having unnecessary pages for similar keywords. I'm sure you're well aware that mobile is important, as well as your location, because more and more people are using mobile devices. Mobile and local signals with search engines are rising in importance. And I mentioned this earlier, social signals are becoming more and more important as well. In SEO, I hope this resonates and you'll get this takeaway here. SEO is not about tricking Google. You really want to think about SEO as partnering with Google to help their users. And just remember, their business model depends on search ad revenue, and because of that, they want to show the absolute best search results so that people keep coming back, using Google, clicking on ads. So you want to partner with Google, provide Google with excellent information on your site that they want to rank high for their users. And it really, if you think about it, it reflects the real world. So in the real world, you want to create a lot of buzz about your car dealership. You want people talking about you, sharing information, referring business to you. And online, that holds true. You want people talking about you, let's say on social media. You want people sharing information by linking to your website. You want online reviews, reviewing your business, and referencing the information that's on your site with links. So why is this important? I'll quote Wayne Gretzky: "A good hockey player plays where the puck is. A great hockey player plays where the puck is going to be." So if you want to succeed with SEO, you need to know where SEO is going, and that's why I gave you the history of Google, where it has been. I explained some predictions in terms of where it's headed, and that's going to allow you to stay ahead with SEO and give you the best chances that your site is ranked high in the search results. All right, now let's dive into the 5 rules you need to follow to get your site ranked high in Google. The first R here is research. And by research with SEO, I mean keyword research. There's a tool that you can use. It's completely free. It's called Google's Keyword Planner tool. And with this tool, it's going to work just like a thesaurus. If you go to Google and go to google.com, type in Keyword Planner Tool, this will be the first result. You want to click on that, get signed up. It's completely free. And when you use the tool, you can type in some of the phrases that you think people are searching for your business. So some obvious ones: NYC car dealer in Manhattan, wherever you're located, in Brooklyn, in Long Island. So you'll want to put that keyword in, put multiple keywords in the planner tool, click search, and the tool will tell you how many times people are really searching for that keyword. So now you know what how often people are searching, so kind of the popularity of that keyword or the market size for that keyword. But in addition to that, Google will show you other relevant keywords, and that's really the most powerful part of this tool. Not only will it give you information about the keywords you already know about, but it tells you what are other keywords people are searching. And when you are combing through that list, it will be a big list, you want to focus on the keywords that you think have buying intent. And what I mean by that is there are two types of keywords. There's buying intent keywords and research intent keywords. Research intent is easy. People are just doing research online, not really looking to make a purchase yet. But other keywords are going to have buying intent. And the two examples I have here are NYC car dealer. That has buying intent. They're looking for a car dealer, versus how to get the best car price. That's just more of a research keyword. They're in research mode, not ready to pull the trigger yet, versus somebody further down the sales funnel is searching NYC car dealer. That's the person you want to target and get them over to your site quickly. And you also want to answer this question when you're doing the keyword research. Do you actually deserve to be number one? So do you actually offer that information? Do you offer that particular product or service? And if you don't, then it's really going to be an uphill battle to try to get your website to rank high in Google. You need to actually offer that information or that product or service, and you really need to be providing the best page online for whatever it is that person is searching. All right, once you've got your keyword research done, then you know all the relevant keywords that you want to rank for. Next, that brings us to the second R, which is relevance. And this is really marketing 101. You want to match the message on your website to the market. So if they're searching for something, you want to make sure whatever it is they're searching is on your web page. I mentioned this earlier. It's important to pick just one page on your site per target keyword or different similar phrases of that keyword, like a keyword theme or keyword group. So you want to make sure you have one page. You're not only optimizing your home page. Your home page will be relevant for a handful of keywords, and then some of the other keywords you'll be matching to other pages on your site. So that's kind of step one. Make sure you have the page on your site that could be relevant for that keyword, and then you'll likely have to make edits to that page. And the most important edits to make are the title of the page, and if that looks foreign to you, that's some HTML there, the title with the less than sign and greater than sign. That's just HTML. If that looks foreign, just talk to your web developer about editing your title, and you want to have the keyword in the title of the page. That's a key component on the page that Google's algorithm looks at to determine if the page is relevant for the keyword. Then there are headers on the page, and those are in HTML H1, H2, H3. Again, Google's algorithm is going to take into consideration the keywords that are in the headers, and then there's obviously the body copy, and that's just all the other words that are on the page. Google's going to read that and determine if your page is relevant. So the title is one of the most important factors. The analogy I like to use is like chapters in a book. And if you go to the table of contents and look at the chapters, you want to make sure all of those chapters are unique. It wouldn't make sense to write a book and have every chapter be named the same thing. That would be pretty confusing. So with your website, you don't want to have duplicate titles across your site. That would confuse Google. And likewise with your headers, you want to have unique headers on your page that are relevant. And you want to try to switch up the exact keyword phrase that you're using between your title of the page and the headers of your page. And I already mentioned with the body copy, don't worry too much about getting the keyword in the body copy. Focus more on writing for your prospects and using good sales copy to get them from just a visitor on your site to actually coming into the dealership or picking up the phone and calling you. And here's the golden rule of relevance. You should create a page that you yourself would actually want to find if you were the one searching for that keyword. That's a good rule of thumb. If you're looking at your web page and the keyword you're trying to rank for, put yourself in the prospect's shoes. Is that all you would want to see, or is there additional information you'd want to see? And if there is, make sure you're adding that to your web pages. Okay, at this point we've got the keyword research done. You've made the different pages on your site relevant for the keywords that you're targeting. Next is reputation. It's important to note that Google is going to, for every search phrase, look at their index of websites and see how many of them are relevant for the keyword that was just typed into Google. And if you've done number 1 and number 2 correctly, you're going to have a page that is relevant, but it might be one of a million websites that is relevant. So the way Google is going to rank you is based on your reputation. I'll use another real-world analogy here. If you think about your own personal, real reputation, what are the factors? It's really by association. So who are your friends? You do have a little bit of reputation by association. And if you're hanging out with other people that have solid reputations, you yourself tend to be recognized as someone with a high reputation. And with online or with internet marketing or online marketing, other people in this case are other websites. And the way you're friends with other websites is really with links. So if other reputable websites are linking to your website, that's like other friends saying, "Hey, this is a legitimate website that should have a good reputation." And then the other thing Google's going to look at is how often you're being referenced online. And this is similar to like other friends talking positively about you to other friends. And with in the online world, that really comes down to social media and just other websites, other bloggers referencing your business and your information. And again, I want to remind you, you want to focus on attracting links. You don't want to be buying or just creating links for your website. So again, links from legitimate businesses. I should note, if you are hanging out with people that don't have solid reputations, then that can be a red flag that you don't have a great reputation in the real world. And the same holds true online. If a lot of websites or kind of spammy websites are linking to you, that can be a red flag to Google that you have a spammy website as well. Sorry, I'm just pulling up the Q&A box here. All right. Okay, I promised 2 tactics to get ranked quickly in Google in as little as 30 days. And the first tactic I want to introduce you to is called Piggyback SEO. And the way Piggyback SEO works is you're going to piggyback on other high authority websites. And now that you understand the first 3 R's, you understand keyword research, making your website relevant, and having a strong reputation, you should understand how Piggyback SEO can work. What you're going to do is publish content. It could be an article or a video on another website that already has a strong reputation or a high authority, and you're going to put the keyword that you're targeting in the title of that content. So if it's a video on YouTube, the title of that video would have your keyword in it. And because YouTube has a high authority or a strong reputation, Google's going to be more likely to rank that video high in the search results because it's going to be relevant, it's going to have the keyword right in the title, and it's going to have the reputation taken care of because it's already a high authority website. I'll give you a couple examples here. This is an article at the bottom of the page, not at the bottom, but of the screen here, how to create a profitable Google AdWords campaign. That's an article that I wrote and published on another website called kissmetrics.com. And you can see that it's ranking high for the keyword how to create a Google AdWords campaign. And that's because that keyword, how to create a Google AdWords campaign, is in the title of that article. So that article is highly relevant. And Kissmetrics already has a high reputation or high domain authority. So that's why that's ranking high. But it's not just ranking high for that particular keyword. It's also ranking high for just Google AdWords campaign, which is a harder keyword to rank for. You can see it's ranking just under Google's own pages. So the number 1 and number 2 spots are google.com. So it's going to be hard to outrank Google. You can see that that article is right underneath there at number 3. All right, so that's the first tactic. The second tactic to get ranked quickly is what's called local SEO, which is using something called Google My Business. You may have heard of Google My Business. Google has probably contacted you already about this, but it's a free online profile that you can create, and then Google ranks Google My Business pages very high in the search results when someone is searching for a local business. And the reason they're doing that is because, here's some stats, 20% of searches are for local information and businesses. 40% of mobile searches are for local information and businesses. And 97% of consumers search for local businesses. So there's a high likelihood that your prospects are using mobile devices and computers and tablets and searching for local car dealerships. And if you have a Google My Business profile set up correctly, then you have a chance to get ranked high. And you'll know that that's what's happening when you search for something and you see the map on Google's first page, and then you see all the businesses with a pin locator, and then the names, phone numbers, and addresses of those businesses underneath the map results. And there's similar 3 steps here to getting ranked high in Google's local results. You want to do your keyword research using Google's keyword tool. Then you want to make your Google My Business page relevant by using those keywords in your profile. Most importantly, selecting the correct categories for your business. And then for building up your reputation with local SEO, it's a little bit different. You don't build links to your Google My Business page. You get what are called citations. And a citation is simply a mention of your business name, address, and phone number. And if you've ever been listed in a business directory, you know that that's typically what you need to get listed in a directory. They ask for your name, address, and phone number. And when you get that published, that would therefore be a citation for your business. And you want to get a lot of citations. It's similar to getting links to your site, but for local SEO, you want to get citations, and you want to have a lot of citations from legitimate business directories. And you also want to get online reviews for your Google My Business profile. That's something that Google factors into their algorithm, and the businesses that have a lot of citations and a lot of reviews have stronger reputations, and those are the ones that are ranked higher in the local results. And to give you an idea of how quickly this can work, this is a testimonial from Barney, who said, about a month ago I started going through the local SEO steps. I've noticed my Google rankings moving up, and right now I'm at the #1 position for my most important keyword in my area. I'm now receiving phone calls for my listing, and I just started working on a case that came in directly from Google Plus Local. And Google Plus Local is also Google My Business. Those are the same thing. Okay, so here's a quick recap. We talked about the first 3 R's: research, relevance, reputation. I gave you 2 tactics to get ranked in 30 days or less. That was Piggyback SEO and local SEO. And next we want to talk about my favorite R, which is revenue. And with SEO, it's easy to think that the goal here is just to get your website ranked #1, but that is not the goal. You want to get ranked to drive more business, more revenue, in your case, more sales, more car sales. And to do that, there are 3 key factors. I mentioned this earlier. You want to have compelling website copy. You want to write with compelling sales copy. You don't want to write for just Google's algorithm. You want to include social proof, testimonials, and reviews on your website. And that's critical because with digital marketing, there's a lot of skepticism. A lot of people that are searching are going to be going to your website for the first time, and they've never heard of your business. So they're going to want to see some social proof. So who else has gone to your dealership and had a positive experience? And CTA is just an acronym for call to action. And you want to make sure you have a strong call to action on your website. You might want them to call you or just come down to the dealership or schedule an appointment. Next is something called a lead magnet. And if you're not familiar with that, a lead magnet is something on your site that you can give away for free in exchange for contact information. And most importantly, you're trying to get email addresses. And it's really, you're trying to attract leads. That's why we call it a lead magnet. And then once you attract that lead, you can use follow-up tactics to turn them into a customer. And the reason that's so critical with digital marketing is because typical conversion rates on websites are down in the 1% or 2% range. So about 1 or 2% of the people that visit your website will actually turn into a customer. Now, that sounds crazy, but you can increase that significantly with a lead magnet because when you think about it, that means close to 98% of visitors are coming to your website, leaving, and they're just never going to do business with you. But if you have something free that you can offer them, they will give you, let's say, name and email address, and then you have the opportunity to follow up via email and use some good follow-up tactics to then convert more of those visitors into customers. And then finally, the third factor here is that the keywords that you're ranked high for are actually searched by prospective customers. And that ties into going after what we call buying intent keywords. When you're doing your keyword research, you want to focus on those buying intent keywords because if you can get ranked for those, that means you're more likely to be attracting customers versus the research intent keywords. And finally, with revenue, you want to track your results. And you don't want to just be tracking your rankings. That's not really a good indication of how things are going. You want to be tracking the traffic you're getting from SEO and even the conversions into leads and sales. And if you don't already have it set up, I highly recommend you go and get Google Analytics set up on your website. And you can do that by going to analytics.google.com, and that you'll be able to quickly create an account. It's completely free, and then work with your developer to install that code on your site. All right, the fifth R is responsibility. Ultimately, the question here is who is responsible for your SEO? That could be somebody in your company, or you might be outsourcing it. I want to remind you that SEO is not a set it and forget it type strategy. It does take ongoing work. And I highly recommend to every business that you delegate SEO only after you understand the basics of SEO. And by attending this webinar, you should understand the basics. So at this point, you're in a much better position to vet service, looking to outsource it, or have somebody on your team do it and be able to manage that properly. And I love this slide. This is just a reminder about Google updates and how they are opportunities. You shouldn't be fearing Google updates. I hear this a lot from businesses that they kind of throw their hands up and don't do anything because they feel like Google's always changing and they don't want to be just chasing their tail. But the reality is, I went through all those updates. The core of search engine optimization has not changed, and the same principles are still working today as they always have. And it's really those 5 R's that I just went through. What has changed is you can't be relying on those old school tactics that I went through. Now, when Google does roll out a new update, that is really an opportunity because Google is going to weed out the websites and other businesses that don't deserve to be #1, and that will open up a spot for you to actually move up higher as long as you are following the best practices. Now, the first step, if you're looking to get started with SEO, would be to get an audit of your website to kind of see where you're at and where you need to improve. And we can do that for you, and here's what would be included. We can do a complete SEO audit of your website. You would get an SEO report card. We'd actually grade you on all the core elements of SEO. We'd also do a SEO competitor analysis to show how you compare to your competitors. And when I say competitor, I mean the other sites that are ranking for your target keywords. You'd get custom SEO recommendations that you can then implement. And it also includes a 30-minute SEO consultation to go over the report card and the recommendations. And if you want to learn more about that service, you can go to mainstreetroi.com/SEO-audit. And with that, we'll open it up to Q&A. So one question I saw here was related to Piggyback SEO. I know I went through that fairly quickly, so I will explain that again. The question here, can you explain again how does Piggyback SEO work? So if you remember, the way SEO works generally is the first R is keyword research. You want to find the keywords that you want to rank for. The second step, or second R, is to make a web page relevant for the keyword you want to rank for. And then the third step is to build up your website's reputation, or what's called your domain authority. And with Piggyback SEO, you're going out and publishing content on other websites that already have a high reputation or high domain authority. And since they already have a high authority, that means they've taken care of step 3. So all you really need to worry about is keyword research and then creating something that is relevant for the keyword you want to rank for. So it kind of takes care of step 3. This is a great opportunity if you have a brand new website. All new websites don't have strong reputations because they're brand new. It's going to take time to build up your reputation. So a shortcut is to then publish articles and videos on other websites that already have strong domain authorities. And taking that a step further, with the example I showed you with the Kissmetrics article, in that article we of course linked back to our website. So you get that article or video to rank high in Google, and then the way you get them over to your website is you would have a link in that article or that video back to your website. All right, I see another question here. Someone's asking, how do I know if I have spammy links? And I get that question a lot. The tool I would recommend is a tool called Open Site Explorer. If you just Google Open Site Explorer, I'm sure it's the first result, or you can go to opensiteexplorer.org, and that will shoot you to the tool. And this tool, all you need to do is copy your domain name. For example, our domain name is mainstreetroi.com. We would put that in the tool, click search or go, whatever the button is, and then once the page loads, Open Site Explorer will show you all the links that you have to your site. And I say all, but it's not actually going to show you every single link. It's going to show you most of them, though, and it will show the web pages that are linking to you. And then you would just go through that list, and unfortunately it is a manual process to then just check those web pages that are linking to you and see if they're legitimate. And what we've seen by auditing hundreds of sites is that if you've worked with an SEO company, let's say 5 years ago, they might have been using some tactics that are old, what I'm calling old school or spammy tactics. They might have created a lot of spammy links. And this relates to another question here. If you have spammy links, what do? You would want to ask those websites to remove the link to your site. That's step one, and I'll warn you that most sites will not do that. You will get lucky, but you basically have to jump through that hoop of asking, because then you can tell Google that you did ask, and you can create what's called a disavow file that lists all the spammy links that you have. And you're basically telling Google, using this file, don't count any of these links. Just basically remove those links from your algorithm. All right, I want to remind everyone, if you do have a question, in the upper right corner of your GoToWebinar screen, there should be a field for questions, and just type those in. And I'll give it one more minute if anyone else has a question. Otherwise, we can wrap it up. And I do want to ask, when I close out the webinar, there's a super quick survey, just to get a sense for what you thought of this survey, or what you thought of this webinar, this training, and also to get ideas for future training. So if there are other topics you'd love to learn about, please share that. All right, I don't see any more questions coming in, so I'm going to close it out. Again, I want to thank Paula for hosting, and thank everyone for attending. If you have any questions after this, when I close it down, feel free to email support@mainstreetroi.com, and we can answer that for you via email. If you want to get the free checklist, it's mainstreetroi.com/thechecklist. If you're interested in an SEO audit and consultation, you can go to mainstreetroi.com/SEO-audit. All right, everyone, happy Monday. Have a great week, and I look forward to seeing you on a future training. Take care.